call the meeting to order. We will start as usual with an invocation by Mr. Phil McKay, followed by Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Lancaster. If I can have everyone please stand.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you and we thank you today for the common grace that you've given to all of us. We thank you for your many blessings on our lives. Today we ask you to remind us, God, of the brevity of our lives and give us an eternal perspective and teach us to be wise with our time. God, we pray that we would be able to honor the officials here that you have put in place, God. We thank you for the governing authorities. Lord, in the scriptures you teach us that you've established them to promote peace, promote order, and to promote justice. Lord, we pray for our mayor. We pray for the various city officials here, and in particular for this council today. We're asking that you would graciously grant to them wisdom to govern in a sense of the welfare and the true needs of our people, and a keen thirst for justice and righteousness. We ask that you would give them confidence in what is good and right, and the ability to work together in harmony, God. And we pray that you would give them personal peace in their own lives and joy in the duties that you've given them. I pray for the agenda that is set before them today, and I ask that you give them an assurance of what would please you. And God, it is in your most precious name that we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. McKay, thank you. That was beautiful. All right. Item number 4 is the Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city, council members, or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for the Citizens Forum. The Citizens Forum is now open. If you want to address the council, please come forward, state your name, and write it for the record.
My name is Anna Spencer. I want to thank Mr. Jerry McDaniel for his efforts in bringing about the recycling to the city. And I want to thank each council member for their consideration on improvements to the Paris Lake Crook and the park. It is one of our, at the top, not at the top, but near the top of our assets. And it is worthy of consideration for improvements. Thank you.
If there is nobody else wanting to address the council, this Citizens Forum is now closed, and we'll proceed to the next item, which is the consent agenda. Any of the council members have any issues with the consent agenda? Mr. Pickle?
No, sir.
Mr. Frierson?
Nope.
No, sir. Mr. Pilata?
No, sir.
Mr. Jenkins?
No, sir.
Ms. Lancaster?
No, sir.
I just have a couple of quick questions, and that is with reference to item number 11, I think. And the questions are for Chief Wright. I've read through your proposition, and my question to you is, when you select the deputies, and you're giving them extra job to do the, what is it called, the fire marshal duties, correct?
Correct.
Are all 3 sharing, or is one of them being picked out?
We have 4 deputy chiefs. 3 of the deputy chiefs are assigned to operations. They actually run the shifts day to day. We have a 4th deputy chief that's was assigned to training officer responsibilities, but we're reassigning the fire marshal responsibilities to that 4th deputy chief.
And will he still be responsible for training or not?
Responsible for what?
He was the training officer, right?
Yeah, no, the training officer responsibilities will remain with the person I appointed as assistant chief, who used to have the training officer responsibilities.
Okay. And is the person who's going to do the fire marshal duties now, is he going to be reimbursed for that, or is it just a voluntary job that has been selected to?
It's not a voluntary job because we pulled him off of a 24 on 48 hour shift. We're compensating him for the time that he's going to be working just standard 8-hour day.
Okay. Is his salary going to be any different from the previous?
Only the compensation that we add to his salary to compensate him for coming off the 24 on 48 off.
Okay. Are you satisfied with what?
I am. This gives me a lot of latitude in any future fire chief, a lot of latitude to assign these ancillary responsibilities to the people that are most qualified. As of right now, since 2010, it was tied to the assistant chief, so no matter what we did, we had to give that responsibility, whether they were qualified or not.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
I have no further questions. If there are no further questions from anyone, I'd like to take a motion on this item. All in favor? Second, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carries. Next, we move on to the regular agenda. Item number 12 is discuss and act on the event center use policy.
This is almost as much an update as an action item. We talked about the event center maybe 3 or 4 meetings ago. We did meet with the staff out there recently, and at the end of last week, I did receive the release of lien. So all the debt has been paid off on that building, and so our plan now is to assume responsibility on November the 1st, which is next Sunday. And in order to know exactly how we're going to operate, we need to have a use policy. The policy that I've attached is basically the same thing we've had over at the depot for about 2 years, except the fees are a little bit different, and we don't let the PEDC and the genealogy library use it for free because that was unique to the depot building. But everything else on there is the same as the policy you've adopted in the past.
I have some questions on it, but we'll start with Mr. Pickle if he has any. Janice, can I borrow one of the pens? Oh, actually, I have it.
Not at this time.
Okay. Mr. Frierson?
John, do you have, because it's coming up on Sunday, have there been any inquiries to this point about reservations?
Now, we have one reservation, and that is in December, I believe, at this point.
And do you have all the equipment, tables and
We're
chairs
still going to need
necessary?
to buy the tables and the chairs. I forget which it was. I guess the tables that the Fair Association has sold most of those off. The tables, we may buy some of those from those folks. We're probably just going to start from new, though.
And I had committed that,
Right.
so I'd be glad to contribute to it.
Okay, just didn't know where things stood.
Dr. Clifford?
I had a couple of questions. Why does the PEDC and the Genealogical Society have, I can understand it at the depot, I know it's just copied, but is there any reason they would have preference there? I can't even imagine.
At the depot?
No, not the depot.
Oh, no,
community
if that's in there, it's not supposed
It's
to.
in there.
Oh, well, then it's a mistake.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they're not supposed to be in there at all.
Okay, that makes sense.
A bad job of pasting and cutting, obviously,
Okay.
so, yeah.
Also, I assume we're trying to rent it as much as possible, but they're limiting renting it to once a month per person. Is there some reason for that?
No, the reason you often have that, well, let me back up and say yes, and I don't know that it applies here because it's so new to us. A lot of times if it's a facility that's popular, you'll have a group that comes in, they want to rent it every month for forever. And then it doesn't become available on that date or that day of the week or that day of the month for anybody else. And so typically with a youth facility, whether it's this kind of a facility or a rec center or meeting room, this same rule we have down there is just so that it doesn't get it over and over and over. Now, it may be that the use is not that big a deal and we can come back and do this later, or, we're not probably going to turn anybody away in real life, so it probably doesn't matter.
That's what I was wondering. It seems like we'd like it rented as much as possible. So.
I think in this case it probably doesn't matter either.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Mr. Pilata?
No, do you see any problem with the grass stuff? I know you're gonna have to put that in y'all's maintenance too.
Right. There's a little bit of grass around it, kind of the perimeter. Most of the area that we'll take care of is the parking lot, which is crushed rock parking lot. So there won't be a lot of exterior maintenance. There'll just be a little bit.
So you don't foresee any problem, do you?
I don't think so. I mean, it's something else to add to the list, but I don't think it'll be a huge thing for us.
Mr. Jenkins?
I have no questions on it.
Ms. Lancaster?
At the end of that sentence, it says, another difference is that we allow the PEDC and genealogical library to use the community room for free, and renters must be city residents.
At the community center, they're required to be city residents.
Okay.
I mean, at the community room, not the community center.
Okay, but that's, you said that would not apply to,
Correct. Here, it's rented to anybody that wants to.
okay, so we need to strike that whole sentence.
Yeah, is that actually in the
It's-
use agreement? Or
it's
I
in
don't
the
have it
mem- I
because
don't-
somebody's borrowing my iPad, so I,
Excuses, excuses.
but yeah, I'll fix that. It's not supposed to be there. That's not
Okay,
supposed to be, so.
okay, that was my only
Okay.
question.
I had a couple of questions. I think one of them Dr. Clifford already asked, and that was that even if there is somebody who's booking it throughout the year, I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Right, I agree.
So I think that needs to be taken out. And then there's a couple of other questions that I had. It says, users must comply with the City of Paris ordinance. No food or beverage shall be permitted without the specific permission of the city manager or designee. Alcohol and tobacco shall not be permitted at any time. And then further down somewhere it says that, if I'm not mistaken, that alcohol and tobacco, not
Maybe.
tobacco, but alcohol is permitted somewhere.
Right here.
Yeah, and that is what, I'm just wondering, why is
Well,
food not?
here's
I mean,
the
there's a
problem.
kitchen there.
I know
This
the
isn't the
problem
right
is,
agreement.
this is, what's in your packet is the wrong form.
Oh,
This is
Okay.
completely the one for the depot.
Yes.
So I didn't make a lot of little mistakes. I made just one giant one, which was I put the whole wrong thing in
Okay,
here.
go
So
for
I
it.
think all the things you've talked about, with the exception of you can rent it over and over, has already been fixed. I just stuck the wrong one in your
So,
packet,
so can we make a motion to table this till we put the right page in it and then
Sure.
bring it
sure,
back?
Sure. Yeah, we'll just stick it on consent for
Yeah.
the November 9th meeting. Sure.
So I'll make a motion to
Wait, can
table.
I, one other question.
Yes, sir.
And it's on here, but there is a huge dumpster out there now.
Right.
Are we gonna change that out?
Well, we'll be responsible for that. We may use a dumpster, we may use something different. We have a crew that goes around and empties trash, so we may use barrels, we may use a dumpster. That was something we got to just trying to figure
Well,
out.
because I just thought, oh, here comes more.
Well, our biggest
Junk.
concern with a dumpster is how many people use it that aren't using the building.
That's what I said. Here
Because that's
comes
what-
more
yeah,
stuff.
That's what people do with dumpsters, and so we'd kind of like to get rid of the dumpster if we can, just for people that cheat.
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we're gonna deal with that on another level in a
Right,
few
right.
minutes.
Blue recliners.
Anybody else? Okay, I'll make a motion to table this item to the next agenda.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 13, receive presentation from Mayor Hashmi and Jerry McDaniel on a recycling program. First of all, on this item, I really want to thank Mr. McDaniel. I think he has really picked up a lot, not only on this, but I think he's been given a lot of other tasks. So great job, number one. And number two, I really appreciate the fact that in spite of your all three other responsibilities, you're taking this up to. And I'm very happy about it. And I'm also very happy about the fact that we are finally able to start this program. Hopefully, it'll be very successful. And then once you've made the presentation, I have a couple of questions. So, Mr. McDaniel.
All right, first off, thank the council for, I think there's a need for recycle, and they brought it to the attention of the staff to move forward with this, and Ms. Spencer, your help as well. I think you did some research on earlier in the process. What we've got is, and I'll just go through this, what are the items of recycling? When we turn the page, you'll actually see more of what actually is gonna be recyclables, which is this one right here. It's plastics, aluminum, metals, cardboard, magazines, phone books, junk mail, printer ink cartridges, styrofoam, newspapers, and shredded paper. Okay, and I guess we'll go back to that first slide there where it shows what is the total cost of the 11 cubic yards containers. We're getting 5 containers. 4 of them, we have 4 locations. The 5th container will be for the rotation container that will stay at the Choctaw Nation there in Durant, Oklahoma. What they'll do is we'll give them a call when the container becomes full. We have a 72-hour response time. When we say it's getting there, they'll come pick it up, drop off the other container, take it off. The good thing about this one is our initial cost is just the bins, the recycled bins, which is roughly $4,000 a piece. It was budgeted to purchase those, and that is our upfront cost. So when we had and we visited several different places and kind of go back, we had one that would provide the containers, but they were going to charge us $789 per trip to dump these things. So that economically was not, suitable for us. It is a drop-off center, and it's just kind of getting started. We're hoping to add more sites, more containers if this hits off right. The landfill savings is roughly, if you dump the four bins, the waste that doesn't go to the landfill, that equivalates to about $226. Not a lot, but like I say, we see this growing and picking up, and it'll actually grow more as we go. We don't know how much at this time. We've got to recoup the cost first before we can put the money back in the parks. But long term, that's kind of what we had all discussed and agreed that might be a good option. We hope that the recycle program will start January 1. The bins have been ordered. Hopefully we may get there earlier, but we're just shot that January 1. Okay. The Choctaw Nation, let me kind of go over what this is. Their recycle facility is in Durant, Oklahoma. It is not a fully automated, as if you go to McKinney to Progressive or something like that. They have the bin, the conveyors. It is fully automated. The Choctaw come up with this to create jobs. It is a facility that you go in, and they dump the recyclables, and they sort it by hand, as unusual as that is, and have been very successful. They've had an 8-year running of it. It was a grant that they started with. The last 4 years has not been under grant. It's been under profit on what they do to keeping people employed and go through that way. Okay, the recyclables, we kind of went over that. The next one is a picture of the 12 by 8 single stream bin. What that is, it's a recycle bin that has no compartmentalized. You open the lid, it all mixes together because they separate it by hand anyway. They found that when they did do the compartments, that it was all mixed up anyway, and they had to sort it anyway. So they went to this. You actually can store more, and all is better. The next slide is basically shows what they do. They come in with a truck and trailer. They'll pick up the bin when it's full after we call them. They haul it off. They drop the empty container off, haul it off, and then they're empty it and ready for the next cycle of whichever one comes in. Our 4 locations is, and these are trial locations. Hopefully they work out. We'll monitor them real close. We hope that they don't end up being trash dump sites. They'll be monitored daily, and for that need, and watch to make sure. The first one is at Leon Williams Park. Second one is at Farmers Market. Third one we've got at Wade Park, and fourth is scheduled for the South Collegiate Trailhead. So we kind of strategically place those, hoping that, and we may see a need to add one in a different location, or even move one of these locations at some point if it doesn't work out or is not handy for the folks. The other slides just kind of show where we've picked out that they will set in those 4 locations. And when you get through that, then we'll have a sign that will just kind of identify who it is, what it is, and what we're trying to do. And I think the community participation will be great. I think we've had a lot of interest in that. And again, like I say, thank you to the council for seeing this need. Dr. Hashmi, I know it was a big deal on your part, and we appreciate that. I guess if there's anything else, that's it.
I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
How tall is the thing that you have to dump it into?
It stands about 4.5, 5 foot to that bend.
And do you have to open that thing up?
Yes, sir.
Does it open sideways? You slide it?
It slides.
Okay. And are there any ADA compliant dumpsters that people who are on wheelchairs can dump it in, or?
I don't know that.
Okay.
Well, I'll look into it though. It may be.
All right. Good
It
enough.
may be a need.
And I think one other question that I was thinking of asking was that you said the savings is not a lot to begin with, but it's what, $200, $250, etc.
Yeah.
have you ever inquired on the price of, you know, those little boxes or the recycle bins that you see in different cities next to the homes which are placed? How much do they cost? And I was just wondering, if this project is successful, is it possible to use that money to buy those ones and then see if in each individual section of town we can start putting them down and seeing how does recycling go along with that?
Are you talking about individual bins for each house?
Yes.
Yeah, what that is, and that's offered by several different sanitation companies, you know, Progressive, even Sanitation Solutions here does it in other towns. What that is, they actually provide that cart,
Okay.
but there's an additional charge on their bill, their water bill for trash, and they pick that up separately. I mean, it works. This was just kind of our start into recycling to see where it is, and it may lead into where we can look into that and see what that cost is and per residence.
Okay, all right. I have no other questions. Ms. Lancaster?
No questions.
Mr. Jenkins?
I have no question for you.
Mr. Pilata?
Me, just ask, how long, do you kind of have a ballpark figure in your head, kind of like, how long you gonna leave a trash place or a recycle dumpster in place before you move it, if it's not working?
We'll kind of, I mean, I think the first month will kind of dictate as to whether it is a good place or not a good place. We've got some alternate backups at different locations. We had thought about even maybe putting them at some of the schools, but the schools have kind of a program going where they've already got some of the trailers through a grant that seems to be working for them, and we didn't want to infringe on what they were doing either. But I mean, we'll monitor it pretty close. If there's not any usage of that bin, you bet we need to make a decision to move it. And I think we'll do that the first month. Yeah, and just month by month, week by week basis, and see where we are.
All right, this.
Dr. Clifford?
You had a couple of questions. You said these will be checked daily,
Yes.
and I guess you'll adjust that depending on how quickly they fill up. Still, we don't have a good feeling for how fast they're going to fill up, obviously.
Right.
Also, when you mentioned the savings in the landfill savings, is there any direct payment for the recyclable stuff, or is there no payment?
There is no payment.
Okay.
because they're not charging us to take it away.
Right.
Which in cost, you know, they've got vehicle, fuel costs, that type of stuff.
Mr. Frierson?
Well, just real quick, along the same lines of Dr. Clifford, is there, besides the Choctaw Nation, I hope that's not me. I know. With this service agreement, if it is terminated at any point, is there, I don't have a feel for what the marketplace, for lack of a better term, with other providers would be. Is there anybody besides them that would be?
Yeah, I mean, with us purchasing the containers, I mean, at that point, it would just be, we'd have to contract with another sanitation company to, what would you do? You know,
Would they, do you think they do the same deal where it's just kind of?
This is the only one we found that does this. All the rest of them charge us trip charges and the whole 9 yards. That's the reason we kind of did a background on them. They started out with a grant 8 years ago. I think they're 4 years into operating on their own. They're growing.
Yeah.
They're actually looking at maybe even another facility. So it's pretty amazing that the people they've got in there that is sorting through this stuff by hand. You think, man, in today's time, but they're creating jobs. And
How long is the service agreement that's tentative, I guess?
yeah, it's tentative. I think we were putting in there 5-6 years just to see. And,
Okay.
I mean, and of course, all that's pending on
Right,
they
I
make
see where
it.
it's been
Right.
approved.
I mean, it's a service agreement. Of course, will give both parties an out. It's not, under certain circumstances.
Okay, thanks.
Mr. Pickle?
And you said these will be monitored daily?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because that's my concern, is just who would be responsible for the cleanup around it?
What we've actually got a trash litter crew that does the parks daily.
Okay.
They'll be assuming this duty as well, and our sanitation superintendent will be monitoring it. They'll let us know. I mean, when we start getting about half full, 3/4 full, we'll start making those phone calls as they fill up. But yeah, and that's how we're planning on doing it right now, because we don't want a lot of trash sitting outside it. flying around, that type of stuff.
What will happen when the Choctaw Nation picks this stuff up and it has paint cans in it and car batteries, things like that? Is there any recourse towards us on that?
They'll monitor that. We're going to kind of watch that too, and even in our daily routine of looking, and we're going to look to see what's in those things. But there is that jeopardy of contamination of that. They said they don't have a whole lot right now. I mean, and they've got several programs going, all in Oklahoma and even two Texas cities now. So they don't see a big problem with it, and hopefully the people are conscious about what they do. But
Okay.
yeah, that is
Thank
a
you.
concern.
Thank you.
Mr. McDaniel, I have one other question. The doors to these, do they slide one side or do they slide both ways?
I think one side is the
Okay.
ones that we had saw.
Because I'm just wondering, because most of the big dumpsters have compactors in them
Mhm.
to slide stuff, because you can keep putting it and it keeps dropping on one spot and it kind of fills that up. How does one kind of shake it to
Right, and I don't know that
Okay.
answer.
All right.
We're just going
New to it, okay.
get into
All
it
right.
and see what. I
good
mean,
enough?
It may be us readjusting it as well.
Okay, all right. I have no other comments. And again, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this. Really appreciate it. I think it's a great thing. Recycling is great, and I think we are starting, with baby steps. So that's wonderful.
Great. Thank y'all very much.
I don't know whose phone or pager or whatever it is, but anyway. Item number 14 is receive presentation from Gene Anderson on criteria and operation of a public educational governmental channel and public information officer for the city, and provide direction to the staff.
Okay. Mayor and council, the purpose of this agenda item was to inform the council about the possibility of having a public educational and governmental channel on Suddenlink Cable, and to get some feedback and direction from the council as to whether or not this would be something that you would be interested in. In the information packet that I gave you earlier, kind of gave you a little history about cable franchises and how traditionally that was a local franchise up until 2005, when the state wrote a new law that set up a state franchise. It didn't take place or take effect here until 2009 because we had a franchise in place, and so they waited until that expired before the state franchise kicked in. And the state franchise is 5% of their gross revenues, and under that franchise, we're also capable or allowed to charge another 1% for the purpose of operating public access or public education channel. And that's the only thing that money can be spent for under the state law. And under federal law, it can only be spent for capital expenditures. And we can ask for up to 2 channels, but honestly, 1 channel would do everything that we would probably ever want to do. And there's a minimum amount of programming that we'd have to put on there, 8 hours a day of different programming. So we began collecting that fee in 2010, and it's more than enough money has accumulated since then to provide all the equipment, cameras and stands and other things that we would need in order to do that. There's nothing in the state law that says we can't use that money for operations, but there is in the federal law. There's a restriction, and that's why we can only spend it for capital items. It's a federal law, not a state law. So we would have the expense locally of an employee and some minor operational expenses if we were to go in this direction. The goals of having a public channel like this would be to increase the transparency of local government, whether it's the city or school or county or anybody that wanted to participate with us in this. It's to make information more easily accessible to the public, to promote the city and the goals of the city that we might have. And this transparency issue is a big deal about allowing the public to have confidence in what we do because we're telling them about everything that we're doing. And we're making that information more easily available to them so that they don't have to listen to rumors or coffee shop talk or anything like that. We're going to provide everything that we're doing, basically, that information to them. Some examples of what the programming would include would be televising our council meetings, which we do already, but we'd be able to televise those live on such a channel. We could also, and not everybody has cable in Paris, but if they don't have cable, if they have internet access, we'd be able to live stream that to them as well at the same time. And of course, there would be recorded replays that could be done on the channel, as well as on-demand internet viewing if people wanted, if they didn't have cable and they just wanted to get online and access that. We could televise other meetings, boards and commissions that the council thought were important for us to broadcast. We can do remote location shoots if we needed to. The one that I mentioned here had to do with candidate forums connected with the election, but anything that we wanted to go out into the field and televise, we could do that. Where I think it would be especially important is when we're doing large construction projects like our water and sewer projects. We could inform the public, about that. We could have informed them prior to the election, the information that they needed for that. And then we could kind of keep them up day to day on that by, we could go out in the field and we could film what they were doing and, have a program that kind of would explain that. And of course, the City of Paris is more than just an organization, it's people. And we could have programming, in the different departments, and follow our employees around, let people understand what it is exactly that they do. And there are informational videos provided by the state and federal government that would be appropriate for us to broadcast. We could do promotional things on things that we're doing, like the Pumpkin Festival or our summer softball leagues, or Keep Paris Beautiful Cleanup Day, which we're always trying to get more people involved in that. There could be educational things that we could do, safety tips like bad weather, and what to do in, tornado and that kind of thing. Fire prevention would be another good topic that we could do a program on. Building in the historic district because it has special requirements and restrictions. Code enforcement issues. What's new at the public library. I think there would be a lot of things we could do there. Crime prevention programs, planning and zoning process, how to obtain a permit, all sorts of educational things that could be broadcast. What we would also hope to do is expand the use of our existing city website, make people more aware of that and be able to fully utilize it more than what we're doing now. And we certainly want to encourage citizens to use that website. We could do interviews as I've listed there for council members or staff members about current issues and activities that we want to inform the public about. It could be done very easily. And hopefully there might be other local entities, whether it's the schools or PEDC or the county or the health district that might want some programming broadcast as well, that we might be able to collect some fees for doing that for them that would help offset our own operating cost. And it might even be possible to get some sponsorships and people that, just want to contribute to that because they think it's a good idea. So basically what we're here for is we've given you some information and we just want to know, does the council want to pursue this issue or is it not interested and want us to move on and do something else? So we're just seeking your direction.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I have a couple of questions. First of all, do you support this idea?
I think it's a good idea. I think we can do a lot of information, get a lot of information out to the public, and I'd rather get facts out to them than let them listen to rumors or anything like that on things.
And in the long run, will it eventually cost the city anything?
Well, initially, all the capital needs are going to be met easily with the fee. We're going to have, the city's going to be out some money initially for an employee, because it's going to take a full-time employee who's trained in this area, and it's going to have some minor operational costs with that. But as I said in the background information I gave you, I would estimate that to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $60,000. And that's why I'm hoping that we can get some other entities interested in it and collect some user fees from them and help offset and keep that to a minimum. But there is that local expense.
So financially speaking, you don't think it's a big issue?
It's $60,000 in a, $15 or $20 million budget. Hopefully we could find that to do.
Mr. Godwin, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think the same thing. I think it's a great idea, and I'd like to see us do it. $60,000 is real money, and so I would really hope we could get some other people to participate. I think it becomes more useful that way, as well as more affordable. So hopefully we can get some partners.
Okay. I like the idea, quite honestly, and so I'd support it. Ms. Lancaster?
Well, I think anytime we can get information out to the public, it's a win.
Mr. Jenkins?
I think it's a pretty good idea, but we can get some more partners to come in and help out with it.
Mr. Pilata?
I think it's all right myself stuff, but adding the other employee, I think myself, you have how many people do you have right now on that do the IT?
There are 2 full-time and 1 part-time.
I think it could be absorbed into that myself. Something to look at, but that's just me.
Dr. Clifford?
Well, it's a pretty good idea. It may be kind of outdated technology if you really think about it. Public access channels have been around since I was a kid. And this sort of information is typically spread out over the internet with YouTube videos, Vimeo videos. It seems to me you didn't say a single thing that would require the public access channel or the government access channel that couldn't be doing on demand on a high quality website that could stream it to us, or we could outsource the streaming to a different website. But it seems to me we would be investing in something that maybe is sort of outdated. That's my only concern about it. I think getting the information out there is very good. I'm not sure this is the way we should do it.
Mr. Frierson?
I like the idea. I guess my question goes back to John. Have you seen this be useful in other communities?
I have. A lot of cities have done this for a number of years. And of course, just as Dr. Clifford says, more and more cities are shifting to the internet. The issue there is that it is old technology, but a lot of folks in Paris still don't have the internet. And if you have the internet, that's probably what you're going to do because you've got more flexibility with it. But if you don't have the internet, you don't have access to the city unless you come down here personally. So that's kind of the target. You'd want to do both, kind of like Gene was saying, but both. It's a good point. But yes, lots of other cities do this. It's not at all uncommon to have that.
Well, I like the availability to have to promote the city for something other than the city council meetings, and though as intriguing as we may be sometimes, there are plenty of other good things that go on in this community. So yeah, I'm support it, sure.
Mr. Pickle?
I saw this in Hot Springs a couple weeks ago. I didn't watch it for very long because it bored me to death. But I think that I've been amazed at the people that do watch the council meetings on TV. So I understand what Steve's saying. I do disagree right now because I think there are a lot of senior citizens that watch it on TV that would like to watch it, would continue to watch on TV for a while. Our kids would watch it on YouTube. But I think it's great. And you can guarantee that this will stop the coffee shop rumors and all that.
I didn't see that slide in the packet, Gene. Is that somewhere in there that I...
And just because we have 8 hours of free programming a day, or we have to do it, doesn't mean we need to drag on city council meetings longer than necessary, right?
That's correct.
Okay, good, that's fine.
Any further discussions on this? So is the general consensus that the council supports it and wants Gene to move forward with it? Yes, no?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
I support it,
Yes.
but I'd still like to see, even if we went ahead with it, I'd like to see at least give it some thought to putting the content on our website, and then it would be immediately available for the people that had access to it, and then we can see, you'll get the stats on how much you won't know how much it's watched on cable, but you'll at least know how many, you'll get the stats on how many people watch it on the website.
I would
But
agree
you go to the
entirely.
trouble to make the content, that would make it more accessible, so,
I agree with that.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
thank you.
Next item is item number 15, receive presentation from Mayor Hashmi, discuss and act on ground lease agreement with PEDC for purpose of construction of hangars at Coxfield Airport. Coxfield Airport is a huge asset for our city, and all of us know that. Currently, there are storage hangars at the airport that truly does not help in the form of economic development and job creation for the city. It has been discussed innumerable times to promote economic development, and though we have an airport master plan, we really have not done a good job promoting the airport as an economic development tool. In the past, it has been discussed to promote the airport and try to get it to become a regional distribution center for courier agencies, etc., but we really haven't gotten anywhere with it. In surrounding towns, there are facilities at different airports that provide airplane repair shops, including shops for avionics, upholstery, and paint shops. There are also shops for retrofitting private jets for medical facilities on board airplanes, such as operating rooms. My thoughts on this were, let's work together today, the City of Paris and the Paris Economic Development Council, towards a joint venture for improvement of Coxfield Airport and creations of jobs at the airport. Let's work together towards putting our resources together for improvement of one of the most untapped sources of economic development that the city owns. I propose today that the city either joint venture with the PEDC at the airport or provide assistance to the PEDC in the form of land lease for PEDC to develop hangars at the airport, not for storage of airplanes, but to rent these hangars out to companies that will develop them into shops for avionics, upholstery, and paint shops. These hangars will generate revenue for the PEDC as well as create jobs for the community and generate sales tax dollars, thus resulting in utilizing the airport for economic development. I propose to the City Council that we lease a portion of the land demarcated by the airport board for leasing it out to the PEDC for a period as deemed appropriate by the council for $1 lease for development of 2 or 3 hangars as deemed feasible by the PEDC board based on their availability of funds that can accommodate such facilities as described above. This dedicated portion should be in keeping with the long-term airport master plan that the airport board is familiar with. So what my proposition today was, this is very early in discussion. I'm happy that the PEDC members are here, the airport board members are here, and they're more than welcome to comment if they would like to. But my thoughts on this were that as an initial process, we start discussing and let the city manager conduct conversations, first with the airport board so that we know that they are in agreement, that they have appropriate space available for those hangars, then to approach PEDC and see what level of interest they have. Hangars can cost anywhere between $100,000 to $1 million based on what size hangars they are, what they are for, and how many airplanes they accommodate. So these are just preliminary discussions, but I think as a council, if we can direct and we are all in agreement on this, then we can have the issue first taken to the airport board, let them give their opinion, followed by going to PEDC and finding out if they would have any interest in it, and then come back to the council with recommendations from both the boards. With that said, before I go to the council members, do any of the airport board members have any comments to make? Sir, anything that you would like to add, or please?
My name is Dennis Ashby. I'm the director of the Airport Advisory Board. Y'all know Jerry, the airport manager. The only comments I would have in the this is a variable thing. Just to say we have hangars and what size may be patterned towards our future clients, but typically the average hangar of 5,000 square foot to 10,000 square foot would easily accommodate that Gulfstream unit and that circular. The type of maintenance all is kind of focused upon the other elements and other government agencies. An avionics shop that works on electronics, radar, communications, and so on in the aircraft has to have a licensed avionics specialist that runs that shop. Like all government, you're responsible for where you put your signature. And that's the guy that they hold accountable for that. Paint shops, they got other government agencies, EPA, etc. It doesn't have to have a mechanic working there, but they have to have somebody come along and sign off the disassemble and assemble of the aircraft. These are all special needs shops. Really, an avionics shop needs a bay to disassemble out of the weather and the climate and move the equipment in and out of the aircraft, and they need usually a smaller office-sized facility to do the actual electronic maintenance on it. The painting is, of course, obvious. It needs filters, it needs circulation systems, it needs some kind of a fire prevention, and it's much more expensive. Those people that are interested in putting paint shops in generally know how to deal with the agencies they're dealing with. As far as a maintenance shop, any licensed mechanic can be a maintenance shop facility. I've been a manager of several maintenance shops. I think the most I've ever employed was maybe 15 people. And that was a specialty shop dealing strictly with converting Convair's over to a turboprop airplane. And we had very specific guidelines and things we had to do to that particular aircraft. Very lucrative, though. And the thing that Dr. Hashmi mentioned about the medical aircraft, that could also be very lucrative. Those things usually have deep pockets, and they can employ lots of people. And I think our main thrust here is not only to spend taxpayers' money wisely in the investment in these hangars that will employ people in the area. I've talked to the JC, tried to get a A&P school going. The lady out there wouldn't hear me. She said, well, we have no way of employing these people. I know we can. I know a lot of people in the airlines are just dying for licensed mechanics right now. An A&P school could be one of these facilities. It's not going to employ as many people as a retrofit shop like you were talking. But I think our main focus would be to where these hangars are going to be. I don't know if that was a question, where the master plan?
But I think that is for the airport board to sit down and think it over and decide based on what you people's recommendations are.
Okay. That being said, there's people out there that want to move here and start these businesses. We've ran off several of them that I know of. Forgive me for being a little sarcastic there, but primarily, if I had a small budget, advertising budget, I can probably bring in 15 or 20 possible candidates that would stand before you and tell you why they want to be on our airport and what they can bring to us. And then we may have to do little on-sites for their hangar facilities, or we could build the whole thing for them. That way, if they're gone, didn't work out, whatever, we've got the next one on the list to take over. And that's not all the facilities an aircraft's capable of. We, beyond maintenance, we could attract a lot of people if we just did the cleanup on airplanes. You know, Jerry provides a unique opportunity to gas and cater to the people that come in transit, whether in a jet or otherwise. But there's a lot of things that they need beyond that. Maybe they want their aircraft waxed. Maybe, I don't know, you could think of a number of things that comes in from time to time that we don't have the facilities for. We have to refer them to somebody else. Or it's a weekend and we have nobody to call out to do that stuff. Usually when I'm at the airport and somebody has a mechanical problem, I go out and take care of it myself because I'm an aircraft mechanic. and I do this as goodwill. So basically, if you have any questions, I'd be glad to screen those.
Jay, you have any comments?
Well, thank you, Mayor, for bringing this to the forefront of everybody's attention. It's something that is past due, and we've been looking forward to having more interest out in the airport, to build hangars for things like this. And Dennis is a plethora of information about the opportunities we have, and he's correct in all of them. I think it's a definite opportunity. The airport board I've been on a lot of meetings over the years, has always backed, building hangars and having the airport grow. So there's no problem with that. It's just a matter of how we could ever do it. And the PEDC has never been forefront, approach to do it. So I think it's maybe a great opportunity to move forward with something at this time. We've got plenty of land. We've got all the facilities we need to develop out there, to develop anything nearly out there within reason. And so that's a great opportunity we do need to expand on and hopefully make happen. It just, you just got to find the money. It's the bottom line. It's always money. And Dennis is right. There's people that'll, if we have the facility, you build it, they'll come. So it's just like that. We've got to have something there. People don't want to, or haven't been able to get a contract, in the past to do something like this. If the city would, like I said, if they build it, they'll come. That's the bottom line. I think we really need to get something like that.
Thank you so much. And there are some people who have interest in it, so I'll pass their name, as I told you at the airport board meeting, who are actually interested in this. I'll get you their names.
Okay, that's great. I'll take it and run with it.
Thank you.
And is there any questions or comments?
Anybody? Thank you so much for
Never
coming.
got off easy on that one, didn't we?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Spencer wants to say something? Mr. Spencer is also on the airport board.
I'm excited about the prospect that we might be able to expand the airport facilities and to see some growth out there. As with any endeavor, you're likely to run into problems and questions, but I think that all of the things that's been mentioned, that we can find a way to overcome any obstacles that we might face if we can just find the funds to do this with.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer. Any of the PDC people want to say any comments?
Richard Manning, Chairman of the Paris Economic Development Corporation. I believe this was a good idea, and I look forward to presenting this to the board for discussion. I think it's an opportunity if we can bring growth and industries to Paris.
Thank you so much. Ms. Lancaster?
Oh, I'm really excited at seeing this finally happen. When the gentleman said we have turned away opportunities, I know for a fact that's true. And I'm just very excited to see finally that we'll start working on developing that airport.
Mr. Jenkins?
I know we're in the early stages of it, and I like the opportunity of creating jobs and bringing growth to Paris. I mean, it seems like we're about the last one trying to get things, so if we're going to do something, let's try to do it right.
Mr. Pilata?
Not really any comments. I'm for, if it provides jobs and growth, I'm for it.
Dr. Clifford?
I think it's a really good idea, and I think proceed on and let the boards, the airport board and the PEDC discuss it and come back with proposals.
Mr. Frierson?
Well, I agree with Dr. Clifford. This is a PEDC issue first, so I don't, while I support growing the economy and jobs and everything, I know you have to have a kind of a ground zero, and if the PEDC sees fit, then that's up to them to bring it back to us. As far as anything else personally, I think the costs are going to be quite significant. I think it'll be far greater than the $100,000 each, probably much more on the upper end of that scale. I want to be optimistic about it, but money's always an issue. And, if there becomes a way, then obviously I'll keep an open mind and hopefully support it if it looks optimistic. So,
Mr. Pickle?
I do know that 3 and 4 years ago, that the airport board and the PEDC were working together, trying to get some things, some industry out at the airport. Obviously, a lot has changed with the PEDC since that time, and maybe the PEDC and the airport board need to get refocused and take this thing on again. To be honest, I just had assumed over the past 2 years that 2 or 3 years that it had continued on, but evidently it hadn't. So I think that they need to get back to where they are, both of them are focused on this.
May I ask a question? Sue, you were on that task force or committee or whatever it was between the groups. You guys met for a long time, and there were several people, like I said, yourself included, and I believe Ms. Clifford from PEDC. Were there any recommendations that came out from that? I don't ever remember seeing them on a council or a PEDC agenda.
The recommendations were to start advertising, and the PEDC was interested in carrying that.
Was there any response from the advertisement, or do you know?
I'm not aware. Ms. Barentine was kind of pushing that, and I'm not
I'm
aware.
sorry, I just didn't hear you.
Ms. Barentine was pushing that, and then I never knew what happened when she resigned and all, but she was trying to get them into the magazines and advertised, and we saw some mock-ups that looked very attractive. I think things were interrupted, as Mr. Pickrell had said, and we just need to get it back on track.
Okay. Well, like I said, I was just the advertisement. I didn't know if that's where it stopped.
That's the last. That's where I lost track of it.
Okay.
I will make a comment that I'm glad to see that we're trying to get with the airport and the PEDC working together on this. Maybe we finally come back around to trying to keep the PEDC involved in stuff rather than tearing it down and closing it up.
Mr. Frierson, to your question, I think the advertisements were thought of, but I don't think they were ever placed.
No, they weren't.
It was never advertised. It was discussed multiple times, but it never went to that point.
Okay.
So should I take it that it's okay with the council to authorize the city manager to go in discussions with the airport board and present it to the PEDC and then bring it back to the council with their suggestions?
Well,
I would think they would be doing that anyway.
yeah, we're not always an economic development board, so I would assume they would be bringing this to us if that were at their forefront.
So, City Manager, you'll take it to the airport
Sure.
board and to the PEDC.
Okay. Whatever I said.
Next item is item number 16, and that is discuss and consider instructing city staff to initiate a zoning case of repeal all or part of ordinance number 2013-045, Lake Brook Planned Development District. In my last tenure as the mayor, I had discussed the possibility of redevelopment of Lake Brook, which happens to be a great asset for our city. Due to various reasons, including lack of understanding of the project eventually got shelved. I want to start today by saying there's no plan to sell the land, the water, or any part thereof around the Lake Brook. There was a generous donation on part of Dr. and Mrs. Swint of $100,000, followed by another $100,000 for the redevelopment of the project. It had some conditions attached to it, which included the repealing of the ordinance that was passed by the council on Lake Brook redevelopment project. There was also an effort on part of some residents to form a Friends of Lake Brook group, but again, not much has moved forward, and the lake mostly remains unused as an asset for the city. Lately, the lake has been used, and it has part of it has been cleaned with the boat race, etc. The city also, due to financial constraints, cannot move forward with a major undertaking on this project. After discussing with various groups and citizens, I think a joint effort on part of the city and Friends of Lake Brook group would go a long way, and a coordinated effort on part of these two groups would lead us to a success story at Lake Brook. I feel that at this point, since the city has limited finances on improvement of the lake, we should come to a negotiated stance so that we can proceed with this project. I suggest the city honor Dr. Swint's request that we repeal the ordinance as requested, which would show that the city never intended to sell any part of the lake or water, and this perception is removed. We honor Drs. Richard and Mrs. Susan Swint by placing a monument at the lake, recognizing their significant contribution. We create a task force between some of the members of the Friends of Lake Group, the city manager, and a couple of council members to facilitate the Lake Group renovation. We proceed with utilization of the $200,000 donated by Dr. and Mrs. Swint and work on improvement at the lake with cleanup operations and development of a park with barbecue facilities, restrooms, etc., or whatever else can be accomplished with the money as deemed by the group which will be formed. So with that said, I'll ask the city manager for his comments, and then my suggestion at this point really would be that I'd like to suggest to the city manager that this be taken back to the Planning and Zoning Board and the ordinance be repealed and we try to utilize those funds. Now, having said that, there is one concern that I do have, and that is the $100,000 check we have, and the other $100,000 check had some limitations to it of when the ordinance needs to be repealed, but I suppose we can approach Dr. Swint back and see what his feelings would be.
Right. Three comments, I think. One is that I certainly agree that it would be great to see us improve and develop that park out there. That's something that I think all the parties have agreed to from the very beginning, ironically. I know the previous mayor and I talked about that, and you and I have talked about that, and people at the Friends of the Park wanted to do that. And certainly, as you mentioned, we've had people use the park a lot more here lately because we cleaned it up a lot for the chuck wagon races and then a whole lot more for the boat races. Both of those events are planned on coming back next year. It's a great asset, like the airport, it's a potential asset that we're not using enough of. So I think an opportunity to do that's a great idea. I think it's always good to talk and discuss and plan and try to see a way that all parties can get involved. The two $100,000 gifts, the first $100,000 gift was given to be used at the park, and that's where we would want to use it in any case. So that one's kind of an easy one, I think, to honor that wish. The second one was given about this time last year, and it was to be spent also at the lake. But the stipulation on it was that it was a post-dated check, and so the check was only good until December 31st of 2014, and it was predicated on the council repealing the zoning ordinance out there. And to review that, because some of you, it's been a while, plus some of you weren't on the council back then, it was a planned development zoning. It was zone PD, or planned development, and that's kind of a non-standard. It is a non-standard zoning district in which you determine what can and can't go there. It's not straight zoning. There were, I believe, 11 different zones that were included in that PD, and we only got so far as defining one of those zones as far as what could go in there and what could not, and we haven't done anything since then. Certainly, if you decide to repeal all or a part of that ordinance, frankly, my recommendation to you would be, as a city manager, would be only repeal a piece of it rather than just get rid of the whole thing. I think the only part that was deemed offensive, and you need to talk to folks, was the idea of selling it. And a lot of people were concerned about that. Well, we've got this great lake, why would we sell it? And I think there were some misunderstandings about that. I think there were people thought Dr. Hashmi had some crazy rich friend that was going to come out there and do something horrible to the lake, and that wasn't the case at all. But so I think if you could get over that, I think you're in good shape. Kind of rambling now, but ultimately, I'm always concerned that when people give money, based on you do this or else. But the good news is we do all have in common that we want to improve that park. And if there's a way we can work through that, I think it can be a win-win. I just don't want to, totally give in, I guess, without having that conversation, obviously. So,
thank you, Ms. Lancaster.
Well, I think we need to really clear up that we never ever wanted to see any part of that lake sold, and I think we all want to see it improved and used, and I'm pleased that we've got two two reoccurring projects, the boat races and the buckboard or chuck wagon deals have come, and we must start seeing some use out there at that park that we haven't seen in a long time. It's a really nice park, and encourage everybody to go out there.
Mr. Jenkins?
Oh, I like the idea of it, and I'd like to see the lake cleaned up real good and everything, and I'd like to see more events come to it also.
More events.
Mr. Pilata?
Well, I agree with everybody else. If we can do it and we have the resources, of course, I'd like to see it brought back as best as it could, or whatever finances we have. I'm for it.
Dr. Clifford?
Yeah, I agree with everybody else. I think these are good ideas, and forming the task force between the Friends of Lake Crook and the city manager and the council would be a good way to kind of get everybody together and brainstorm this to figure it out, but I'm in favor of this.
Mr. Frierson?
Well, I'd like to take this from two different sides. First of all, from the zoning side of things, this was something that less than 24 months ago, the council unanimously decided it was a good idea. Prior to that, planning and zoning decided it was a good idea. Prior to that, city staff spent about a year, if I'm correct, in designing the layout for this to go with a master plan. And so less than 24 months later, Dr. Hashmi, who brought this up, we want to just throw it in the trash. That seems a bit curious to me. So I don't know if the whole holdup is doing improvements for the park area. Everybody's on board with that, so I don't know why we'd need to repeal anything for that action to take place. John, if I'm correct, the 100,000, the last one is expired.
Correct. We do not have that fund.
Right, and so that leaves us with 110,000 balance. Is that correct?
To my knowledge, we have just $100,000 that the Swints provided about 2 years
No,
ago.
I donated 10,000.
Okay.
Yes.
But, so you did donate 10,000, so there's 100.
I committed to it. I haven't
Yeah.
given it.
So to me, reading this suggestion line, with that monies, I would certainly be supportive of trying to put something on the books with improving the facilities out there with restrooms and things like that. And I would assume that the 110 gets you pretty far down the road. Not in construction, so don't really know. But I don't think I could support trying to repeal something we did less than 2 years ago, because we need to show up confidence. We agreed unanimously that this was the right way to move forward, and I want the best for Lake Crook as well. The more the better, but just seems a bit rushed to me to try to go ahead and make adjustments.
Mr. Pickle?
If we repeal this, and Dr. Swint comes back and says, okay, I'll give the second 100,000 now, who's to say that in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years from now, we can't go back and appeal that we appealed or reappealed or whatever?
Well, this is zoning, and zoning can be changed. There's a process for zoning. It has to have, you advertise it, you have a public hearing at the Planning and Zoning Commission level. They approve or disapprove. It goes to City Council, and they approve or disapprove following a public hearing. So zoning is like most any other ordinance. It can be changed.
Right. So we could take the 100,000, and then in 2 years we could go back to have it rezoned the way it is currently zoned now. Correct?
Well, legally you could do that.
Well, I'm just saying, I believe that at some point down the road that we're going to see Lake Crook developed. Now, are we going to see a amusement park, any of that? No, and I don't think we want that. But I do think that there's enough interest for at some point there to be some residential development. And but hey, we can get the 200,000 or the 100,000, the 110, 210, whatever. If we can get it now and get us just farther down the road, I don't care. Just as long as that everybody realizes that we're not committing future councils are tying their hands up.
I'd like to make a motion on this item, and I'd like to make a motion to repeal the ordinance. And, obviously I cannot take a motion on that. I will send it back to the Planning and Zoning Board to see if we can repeal the ordinance. I'll make that motion.
This is
To take, the motion is to take it back to P&Z. Yeah.
Second.
Mr. Pilata is not here. All in favor?
Can
Wait,
we have discussion?
it's not, we can't vote on this. It's not,
Just instructing city staff what to do.
yeah.
What to do with it.
Well, if we're going to go down this road, and I really do mean this sincerely, and again, not trying to cast doubt or anything like that on anyone involved, but does it seem like to anyone else, like, we'll give you this money conditionally, and then we're going back and saying, yeah, we'd like to have your money, so we're going to change our vote?
Well, we haven't moved forward with anything happening at
Well,
Lake
these,
Brook. Neither,
it just feels
can
like,
I answer?
Please.
Neither does the city have the funds to develop what we want to develop. Actually, we have no allocated funds to do anything there of any significance. The Lake Brook, Friends of Lake Brook, I think they may have tried to collect some funds, but I don't think they were majorly successful. And somehow or the other, interest progressively died down on it. And at this point, it is easier to try to get things back on the road. And if it will help the Friends of Lake Brook understand the reasoning behind it, for them to understand that we have all good intentions at the lake, I see no harm in repealing the ordinance, making sure that they are on board with us and they are part and parcel with the city manager and council members of coming up with suggestions of what can be done there. And so I personally have no issue with it.
Okay, I mean, I respectfully disagree. No one else on the council speaking up, and that's okay too. But I just think, you're kind of setting a weird precedent that it doesn't look good to me. But hey, I'm just one person.
Mr. Pickle, you want to say something?
Now, hey, I think we're prostituting ourselves. Might as well go ahead and get the money.
Okay. All right.
I mean, if we're going to get the money that way, then, and just as long as they realize that things can change.
So I take it from the rest of the council that everybody is okay with the city manager taking the thing back to the P&Z.
We will arrange it.
Thank you. The, item number 17 is discuss and act on changes for meeting dates in November and December 2015.
This is the sort of thing we hate to talk about, but we're talking about canceling council meetings because they're so much fun to be here. And I am being terribly sarcastic, but typically we cancel the second meeting of November because it's usually Thanksgiving week, and the second meeting of December because it's Christmas week. And so we recommend that we do that again this year.
Personally, I think there's a long delay between. So my suggestion would be that we readjust the dates, and if we have to do it on the 7th of December, we meet on 7th of December, and if everybody else in the council is agreeable to meet on the 14th and be done with it. Otherwise, we will have essentially no council meetings from 9th of November all the way into January.
And we have done it that way before. 2 years ago, we did that very thing.
But again, I mean, whatever the council decides.
I thought we were having one on the 14th.
Yes, so.
We're having one on December 14th.
Okay, December 14th, there is a meeting?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm fine with it then.
Yeah, you have a 5-week gap. And if we have, I mean, whatever you.
We can always call for a special.
Yeah, we can have a meeting if we need to.
Or could we just
It kinda
make
depends
it,
on what, usually we have light agendas this time of year anyway, but that's not always the case, so.
would it be easier if we did it, say, instead of November 9th, have it November 16th, the next?
I think that's a good idea. And also, I think instead of 14th becomes kind of close to Christmas, can we move that to 7th? Or again, it'll be a long delay again. So
Yeah,
14th is fine.
The other thing you can always do is you can just decide on November tonight, and in November we can decide on December.
I'd like to do it on November 16th.
I'm fine with November 16th is good.
So November 16th and December 14th.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be good. Everybody all set on November 16th and December 14th?
We will do it.
All right. Item number is 18, consider and approve future events for the city council and city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081. Tomorrow night, I hope it has already been posted.
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
The second thing is, speaking of special meetings, we talked about last summer doing a kind of a shorter tour of West Paris, looking at some things over there. And frankly, I've delayed it on purpose because I don't want to go out there when it was 100 degrees again. Weather is cool finally. So Janice will get with you folks and see when you want to do that, and we'll try to set that up next month or two as well.
Item number 19.
So moved. Second.